When my biological parents arrived to take me away, the very first thought I had was about Sarah. She had recently lost her memory, or so I believed. She'd completely forgotten everything and everyone in her life, except for me. I was actually making plans to take her with me when I moved, but then completely by chance, I overheard a phone conversation she was having. The amnesia? Yeah, I'm just faking it. I made the wrong people angry, and I don't want my real boyfriend getting caught up with me, she was saying. Alex doesn't matter. If he gets bullied, it's not going to break my heart. Hearing that instantly made me let out a long, quiet breath. That's good, I thought. Tomorrow, when I erase Alex's identity, she won't be sad about it. I had come home early that day, hoping to surprise Sarah. That's why I was standing outside her door when I heard her. Amnesia? Of course it's fake, her voice drifted out, sounding arrogant and relaxed. Her bedroom door hadn't been fully closed. I annoyed someone recently, and they threatened to get revenge on me, saying they wouldn't spare my man either. Ben and I have been spending too much time together lately. Those guys are already watching him. I had no choice but to find a body double for him. Ben's full name is Ben Archer. He is Sarah's childhood sweetheart. On the other end of the line, her friend asked, "But will this plan actually work?" "It is working," Sarah replied. "Those guys truly think Alex is my boyfriend now." "You are being ruthless. Alex has been in love with you for so many years." "You don't understand," Sarah interrupted, her tone sharp. "Ben is so terrified he can barely sleep. It hurts me to see him like that, and that's the only reason I'm doing this. Otherwise, do you think I'd want to be separated from Ben? What about Alex? Don't you feel even a little bit guilty?" "He doesn't matter," Sarah answered right away. "He's not Ben. I truly don't care if he gets hurt." I stood there in the doorway, my mind blank. I felt a bit lost. I had no idea that Sarah and Ben were a couple. If I had known, I would have made sure to keep my distance from her. It was no secret that I liked Sarah. But I also knew deep down that there was never any real possibility for us to be together. I grew up poor, while Sarah came from a prestigious, wealthy family. There was a huge difference between our social circles. I had liked her for years, and she had always kept me at a distance. That all changed just last month. Sarah suddenly showed up looking messy and upset. She claimed she had amnesia, remembered nothing, and only knew who I was. Sarah was known for liking dangerous sports, so it wasn't impossible that she'd had some kind of accident and hit her head. She looked at me with those big, wet eyes and said, "Alex, please let me stay with you." My heart melted immediately, and I agreed to let her stay at my place. During that time, I tried to take her back to her parents, several times, but Sarah always refused. She would hug my waist and act miserable. "To me, they're just strangers," she'd say. "Alex, do you not want me anymore?" Sarah was beautiful, and once upon a time, she had saved my life. When she acted sweet and vulnerable, I could only give in. Just like that, we lived together for a month. The woman who had once been completely out of my reach was now sleeping next to me every night. It was a wonderful, almost unbelievable experience. It felt like a dream. And it truly was a dream, because today it was time to wake up. I purposely made some noise entering the house. Sarah quickly ended her call and walked out of the room. "Alex, when did you get back?" "Just walked in," I said. She let out a secret sigh of relief, then immediately hugged me, burying her face in my neck. "I was planning to pick you up from work, but I didn't expect you back so early." I stayed silent. Sarah squeezed me tighter, her lips brushing my earlobe as she kissed me. "What's wrong? Bad day at work?" "A little," I admitted. "Who bothered you? I'll go teach them a lesson." "Sarah, I gently pushed her away and asked, "Have you gotten any of your memory back?" "Doesn't feel like it." "You really don't remember anyone at all?" She smiled. "Does it matter? Since I woke up, the only name I've had in my head is yours." "Then what about Ben?" Sarah frowned, pretending to think hard. "Who is that? Am I supposed to know him?" "Forget it. Nobody," I said. Sarah clearly didn't want to talk about it. She quickly changed the subject. She said today was my birthday, and that she had a present for me. It was a blue jacket, very unique and stylish. "I saved up for a long time to buy this. Do you like it?" Sarah watched my reaction carefully, but I didn't say anything, because I suddenly remembered that Ben's favorite color was blue. That night, I had to drop off a file at the office. Before I left, I put on the blue jacket. As I walked, I started to feel like someone was following me. Soon, the path ahead was blocked. "Found you, Sarah's boyfriend," several men said as they surrounded me. "You've got the wrong guy," I told them. "Bullshit. I've been watching you for a while now. You're always with that woman, Sarah. If it's not you, then who is it?" I asked calmly, "What time is it?" 11. Why? The man was confused by my question. If Sarah truly loved me, would she let me go out alone at 11 at night, knowing there's danger? That makes sense, but I recognize that jacket. Jacket? The man showed me a photo. It was a picture of Sarah and Ben together. Ben was wearing this exact blue jacket, right down to the zipper pull. He was wearing a hat, so his face wasn't clear. "No mistake," the man said. He looked me up and down. "See the monogram on the pocket? I know this thing is custom made. You're the guy I'm looking for." I looked down and finally noticed. There were 3 letters embroidered on the pocket. No wonder she gave me this jacket. Wearing it, I became Ben. I became the perfect decoy, meant to die in his place. When I got home, it was past midnight. Sarah wasn't asleep yet. Hearing the door open, she jumped up. She looked at me anxiously. Seeing that I was unharmed, she let out a sigh of relief, then looked surprised. "You're back so soon?" "Yeah. Did anything happen?" "What should have happened?" I stared at her and asked. "I didn't mean that. I meant, I'm glad you didn't run into any danger." After acting for a month, this was the first time Sarah showed any real concern. I looked away, pretending to be calm. "I'm tired, going to sleep." Thinking back to what had just happened, I was still a bit stunned. At the most critical moment, Jessica had shown up. She didn't even have to do anything. She just stood there, and the thugs ran away. The Jenkins family of New York, everyone in those circles knew who they were. Jessica handed me an ice cream. "Good thing your big sister was following you." I asked, "It's so late. Why were you in the neighborhood?" "You still haven't agreed to come home with me. I couldn't sleep, so I went for a walk. Didn't expect to run into you," Jessica said, looking at me with worry. "Did things like this happen often before? Is this how you lived all the years we were separated?" I shook my head. "No, don't worry." Actually, I still couldn't quite believe it. Jessica Jenkins was my biological sister. The Jenkins family had lost a baby boy years ago, and it turned out to be me. They had been searching for years. The day the DNA results came back, Jessica brought them. Mom and Dad canceled all their work and made a special trip to pick me up. I just hadn't agreed to go right away. New York, that city of power and wealth, felt too far away from the life I knew. Plus, if I left, what would happen to Sarah? The sound of the shower running pulled me back to the present. While Sarah was showering, I quickly checked her chat logs on her laptop. After her amnesia, Sarah had created a new, temporary account on her messaging app just to contact me. She claimed she had forgotten her original passwords, but on her laptop, her main account was logged in. The conversation pinned to the top was with Ben. "Sarah, is everything okay over there?" Ben asked. Sarah replied, "They're already watching the place. Don't come see me right now." Ben, sigh. "I just didn't want to see that client forcing you to drink so much. That's why I swore at him. I didn't think he'd take it this seriously." Sarah, "It's okay, babe. I know you did it for me." So that's how the trouble started. Ben's rich kid temper didn't just ruin Sarah's business deal. It put her in danger. Ben asked again, "You aren't sleeping in the same room as him over there, are you?" "No." Ben believed this answer right away. "Good. Even we haven't held hands yet. You can't be too intimate with him. Besides, you don't need to sacrifice too much. Since Alex loves you so much, just use him however you want." Ben didn't know his Sarah was lying. Not only was she sleeping in the same bed as me, but she also had plenty of energy, clinging to me every single night. Finally, Ben asked, "When do you plan to come back?" "Soon. If the Jenkins family agrees to help, I can come back immediately." "When you come back, how will you explain it to Alex?" "I'll just say my memory returned, and he's not the one I love." I didn't read any further. The shower was still running. I quietly closed the bedroom door and called Jessica. "I've made up my mind. I'll come home with you. But I have one request. Can you completely erase my current identity?" 3 days later, in the afternoon, dragging a suitcase, I told Sarah I was leaving for a business trip. Sarah looked unhappy to see me go. When she noticed I was wearing the blue jacket, her face froze. You're going to wear that?" "Yeah. Didn't you save up to give this to me? Of course I'm wearing it." She quickly grabbed another coat. "Wear this one instead." "Why? Is there something wrong with the jacket you gave me?" Sarah's eyes flickered away. "It's not very thick. I'm afraid you'll be cold." "It's almost summer. I won't be cold," I said. I looked into Sarah's eyes and asked one last time, "Is there anything you want to tell me?" She was silent for a long moment, then shook her head. "Nothing. As long as you like it." I smiled, letting it go. That was her answer. "I'm leaving then. Goodbye." The door clicked shut softly, like a final farewell. The Alex who loved Sarah was gone. Only when a person dies can their identity be legally erased. But for the powerful Jenkins family, that was a simple task. I changed my phone number, changed everything about my life. I walked toward a completely brand new future. By the second day, Sarah realized something was wrong. Her messages were never replied to. Her calls went unanswered. Alex was missing. At first, Sarah told herself, "It's fine. Maybe he's just really busy. He wasn't someone worth distracting herself over." But she started having trouble sleeping. Alex's pillow was still right there, and the air smelled like him. She felt awful, whispering Alex's name into the empty room. Even then, she thought it was just a physical habit she needed to stop. On the third day, still no news. Sarah ran to Alex's company, only to be told Alex had resigned. Sarah felt like she'd been hit in the head. Walking unsteadily, she went to the police station. "Alex? Yes, he's my boyfriend, but I've lost contact with him. I think he's in danger." "Are you sure?" the clerk asked. "There's no such person in the system. Check again. There can't be a mistake." After typing on the keyboard for a moment, the clerk suddenly looked up. "He's dead. Just yesterday. His records were officially expunged." Buzz. Sarah's world went silent. In a flash, 6 months passed. The main lady of the Jenkins family in New York was hosting a birthday party. Everyone who was important in the city was there. 55-year-old Mrs. Jenkins, dressed elegantly, told everyone she met, "Isn't this gown beautiful?" My son picked it out for me. Everyone knew that 6 months ago, the Jenkins family had found their youngest son, who had been lost for years. They spoiled him terribly. Chairman Jenkins simply retired early, dumping all the business work on his daughter so he could focus on one thing: traveling the world with his son. His daughter, Jessica, was upset about this, mostly because she wanted to spend time with her little brother, too. Today's banquet was supposedly for Mrs. Jenkins' birthday, but it was really to introduce the son to high society. Mrs. Jenkins was glowing, her previous sadness completely gone. She even looked years younger. This made everyone even more curious. "Hey, have you seen the Jenkins son? Even the paparazzi haven't managed to snap a photo of him." "How could I have seen him? Then why are you dressed so sexily?" "Aren't you the same? Every single woman here is dressed to impress. Everyone wants to catch the eye of the Jenkins heir, but I heard he already has a fiancée arranged for him." I walked quietly past the gathering. Everyone was busy gossiping. No one noticed me slipping into the Jenkins family's private lounge. I was bringing Jessica a different dress. Just a moment ago, a male guest had accidentally spilled a glass of wine, staining her suit. Jessica had said, "Brandon, go out in a bit and smooth things over with that guest. He seemed genuinely sorry. We're the hosts. No need to be harsh over a small accident." I agreed. Leaving the lounge, I went to find the guest who spilled the wine. Sure enough, there was a guy looking annoyed. A woman with him was trying to comfort him. Their shapes looked familiar. Before I could react, the woman turned around. "Alex!" Sarah shot up, looking at me in disbelief. It was Sarah and Ben. I hadn't expected to run into them here. It seemed they had settled the issue with the client Ben had offended. I calmed down quickly. Honestly, over the last 6 months, I had almost forgotten about Sarah. My parents doted on me. To make up for the lost time, they had taken me all around the world. I thought it would take a long time to get over Sarah, but the world is too big and interesting. I didn't have time to think about her. "Alex, it really is you. Thank God, you're alive." Sarah, on the other hand, was not calm at all. She ran up to me. Suddenly, her eyes welled up with tears. "This is great. You're really still here. I'm not dreaming." "Looks like your memory is back," I said. Sarah froze. She had almost forgotten she was supposed to be faking amnesia. "It's back," she answered guiltily. I turned to look at Ben. He was the one who spilled the wine. "About staining the dress." But before I could finish, Ben interrupted me. "Alex, who do you think you are, daring to crash this place?" "Crash?" I was a little surprised. "What else?" He looked me up and down. "With your status and background, there's no way the Jenkins family invited you." After saying that, he arrogantly held out his hand. "Let me see your invitation." Of course, I couldn't produce an invitation. Ben put on an "I knew it" expression and said loudly, "Aren't you afraid of being thrown out?" I fell silent. Mostly because I couldn't understand his stupidity. Did he know what he was saying? Ben linked his arm through Sarah's. "I told you, right? He definitely faked his death just to make you pity him. Look, he couldn't hold back anymore. He even followed us here." Sarah ignored him, just staring at me in a daze. Ben had to turn his attention back to me. "Alex, do you know where you are? Everyone here is a business tycoon. How did you sneak in?" I said coldly. I walked in on my 2 feet. "You've got some nerve." Ben was even more convinced of his guess. "I advise you to leave immediately, or don't blame me for calling security to remove you." "Go ahead. I said. I was holding back only because of Jessica's instructions. Guests are guests. As hosts, we have to be gracious, even if the guest is brain damaged. I couldn't be bothered to waste any more words on them, and turned to leave. Rachel blocked my path. Alex, where are you going? Come back with me later. I shook off her hand. I'm not Alex anymore. Then who are you? I'm the youngest son of the Jenkins family, Brandon Jenkins. At that, Ben burst out laughing. You! You don't even plan your lies first. Alex, oh Alex, 6 months no see, and you've become so arrogant. He wouldn't believe me no matter what. Forget it. I was too tired to explain, so I turned and walked away. A while later, the party began. Everyone gathered in the main hall. Mrs. Jenkins was about to go on stage to give a speech. Ben suddenly raised his hand high. Wait a minute! I'm reporting someone! There's an intruder here who wasn't invited. The crowd went into an uproar. Who? Who has the guts? Ben pointed at me. Him! Everyone's eyes immediately focused on me. The expressions on the Jenkins family members were priceless. Do you have any proof? Ben said firmly. Because I know him. His name is Alex, my college classmate. His parents died when he was young. His relatives ignored him. He couldn't even afford food and relied on financial aid for college. How could someone like that appear at this banquet? He wasn't wrong. After I was kidnapped, the couple who bought me seemed to suffer bad luck and died in a car crash not long after. None of their relatives wanted a burden like me. I grew up eating scraps from neighbors. Sometimes, when there were no scraps, I had to dig through trash cans. But that watch on his wrist is worth a fortune, someone with sharp eyes pointed out. That's the point, Ben shouted indignantly. I just saw him coming out of the private lounge. He stole that watch. Whispers erupted, everywhere. People started checking their own expensive belongings. Ben added helpfully, Don't worry, everyone. I've already called the police. Enough! Jessica finally couldn't take it anymore and shouted in anger. The thief you're talking about is my biological brother. Ben froze instantly, but Jessica's rage hadn't calmed down. I bought him that watch. Is there a problem with him wearing it? He is a Jenkins. He can enter and exit any lounge he pleases. Do I need to explain that? No. Impossible. Ben's face turned pale as he looked toward today's birthday girl, Mrs. Jenkins. Mrs. Jenkins, her eyes red, asked me, Is what he said true? You couldn't even get enough to eat before? My poor son. It's all Mom's fault for not finding you sooner. Dad walked out at this moment, too. Perfect timing. Let me introduce everyone. This is my son, Brandon Jenkins. Please look after him in the future. Ben looked like he'd been hit by lightning. Equally shocked was Sarah. I don't care what your reason is for slandering my brother, but this venue does not welcome you. Please leave. Jessica's face was furious. Ben panicked. I'm sorry, it's a misunderstanding. I'll call the police and tell them not to come. Don't, I said. The police are actually needed. I pointed to the security camera and spoke. You slandered me in public with solid evidence. I'm pressing charges too. Ben slumped to the floor. Jessica found him too annoying to look at. She had security throw him out to wait for the police outside. Ben could only turn to Sarah for help. Help me! You have a partnership with the Jenkins family. Put in a good word for me. Jessica turned her head and looked coldly at Sarah. Are you with him? Sarah snapped out of her daze and took a step to the side. No, I don't know him. After such a huge public scene, everything was resolved smoothly. The birthday party concluded in a lively atmosphere. That night, back at home, Mom kept crying about me. My sweet son, you really suffered. Why didn't you tell Mom earlier? I smiled. It's all in the past. I didn't want to see you sad. Mom wailed and cried even harder. It took forever to calm her down. I went to find my sister, Jessica. Jessica is 5 years older than me. When I was lost at 3, my memory of her wasn't very clear. Plus, she was always busy with work, and we didn't see each other often. So even now, she was the person I was least familiar with in this house. I couldn't even bring myself to call her sis easily. I poked my head in. "Are you busy?" Jessica put down the file in her hand. "Brandon, come in." Outsiders said this heir to the Jenkins empire was a natural for this world, cold-hearted, with tough methods, even tougher than Dad was back in the day. But when she spoke to me, she was always gentle. "What do you need, Brandon? Is our family partnering with Sarah?" "To be exact, we're still talking," she said. "That woman, Sarah, has some talent. She's considered a rising star in the startup world recently. I'm thinking about investing in her." "Is there no other choice?" I asked carefully. "You mean you don't want me to invest in her?" I waved my hands quickly. "That's not what I mean. You manage the company, so you have to think about profit. I won't interfere with your decisions." Jessica took off her glasses and looked at me seriously. "But Brandon, we're family. Family should protect each other." She was right. Growing up, I was used to giving in, just to survive. I didn't dare express my thoughts for fear of being disliked and losing my next meal. But now, I had a home. I gathered my courage and said, "Sis, don't invest in her." Jessica paused. "What did you call me?" "Sis." "Okay." Her hands trembled slightly with happiness. "If Brandon says no investment, then absolutely no investment." Stopping Jessica from investing in Sarah wasn't just a personal matter. It was because I felt Sarah was unreliable, especially after today. I asked around later. After I erased my identity, Sarah took a huge hit. She was mentally absent for a while. She broke up with Ben and was depressed, but Ben stayed by her side. Ben hated me, which I actually understood. But Sarah, completely ignoring their history, pretended not to know him the moment he was in trouble. Someone that cold and disloyal isn't a suitable business partner. I told Jessica everything. She thought for a moment. "Based on what you said, Sarah really isn't trustworthy." She paused, then changed the subject. "Do you still like her?" I shook my head. "I moved on a long time ago." "Then what do you think about the engagement with Victoria Vance?" "No thoughts for now," I admitted. The question caught me off guard. Supposedly, when Mom was pregnant with me, she made an agreement with the Vance family, who are real estate tycoons. But it was just talk. Nothing was ever officially agreed upon. Now that I was back, the Vance family seemed interested in making it happen. I couldn't help but think of Victoria. Graceful figure, outstanding presence. The first time we met was at the Vance estate. Right after I was found, Dad took me to see his old friend, who was Victoria's dad. That day, all the aunts and uncles of the Vance family were there. I was surrounded by a crowd, feeling very uncomfortable. They kept asking me questions. "Are you going to marry Victoria? When's the wedding? How many kids do you want?" The overwhelming questions almost drowned me. Suddenly, a girl walked over and stood in front of me. "Stop asking so much! You're invading his privacy!" "Oh, come on, what kind of privacy is this?" "I said it is, so it is. Apologize to him." The girl was demanding, almost bossy. Later, I learned she was Victoria Vance. However, the perfect impression from that first meeting was quickly broken by the lady herself. My parents were thoughtful. Considering I was in my 20s, they bought me a new apartment so I could have some privacy. But I usually preferred staying with them. Occasionally, I'd go to that apartment, like today. Boring financial laws were making me sleepy. The doorbell rang suddenly. I thought it was my food delivery, so I ran to open it. But standing outside was Sarah. Her eyes lit up instantly. "It really is here? I found the right place. What do you want?" "Alex, since you are not dead, our relationship can definitely continue, right?" "Relationship? What relationship?" I smiled sarcastically. "You mean the relationship where you faked amnesia to use me?" Sarah's smile froze. When did you find out?" "A long time ago. I can explain. That plan was Ben's idea. I refused at first, but he wouldn't stop nagging, so I pretended to have amnesia to find you. I've actually regretted it the whole time." "Then go be regretful. Goodbye." I was about to close the door, but Sarah reached out to block it. The doorframe pinched her hand. She winced in pain, but refused to pull it back. She looked up at me and said, "Alex, please forgive me, for the sake of me saving your life once." I fell silent. That incident was my weakness. Sarah thought she had found a way to get through to me. She was about to walk into the room as if it were normal. Suddenly, a clear female voice came from inside. "Who is it?" Immediately after, a woman wrapped in a bathrobe walked out. She was drying her wet, long hair with a towel as she walked. With the movement of her arms, the curves of her body were faintly visible. Victoria asked casually, "Is someone bothering you?" "Don't worry, I called security." Sarah turned pale, quickly made up an excuse, and ran away. I rolled my eyes at Victoria and thought, "You really love drama." Just a moment ago, when Victoria arrived, she had gotten caught in the rain. Afraid she'd catch a cold, I rushed her to take a hot shower. I didn't expect her to walk out like that. After Sarah left, I accused her, "Is there something wrong with you?" "Oh, I threw my clothes in the dryer. Wanted to borrow something from you." "I only have men's clothes here. Will you wear them?" "Sure." Victoria smiled, a bit of lazy mischief in her expression. "But you have to keep it a secret. It's my first time wearing men's clothes." I rolled my eyes at her. "You doing this makes people misunderstand me." "So what?" She sat on the sofa, her posture relaxed. "Is that person important to you? Are you afraid she'll misunderstand?" "Not really." Maybe letting Sarah misunderstand was actually a good thing. "Did you finish the material?" Victoria asked out of the blue. "Not yet." "Hurry up, don't dawdle. Teacher Victoria picked these materials with care. Cherish them." I sighed, accepting my fate. I don't know what my parents were thinking, hiring Victoria to be my tutor. They wanted me to participate in the family business eventually, but I lacked too much business knowledge. Jessica was too busy, so they had to find someone else. Among our peers, Victoria was the most talented. Since our families were close, she became my exclusive tutor. We agreed to have lessons here at this apartment. Victoria was lazy in her personal life, but strict with me. Under her high-pressure teaching, I often studied until I was completely exhausted. The good impression from our first meeting had long been smashed to smithereens. "After you finish the reading, go look at some case studies. You can only eat after you finish everything." "Are you a devil?" The devil herself shrugged and casually opened a bag of my hidden snacks. There was a lot to learn, but under Victoria's supervision, I somehow absorbed it all. When there were things I didn't understand, she would explain them patiently. By the time I finished everything, the lunch Victoria had ordered had arrived. While eating, I thought back to the scene earlier. When Sarah saw Victoria, her expression was a bit strange. Did they know each other? I voiced my question. Victoria said calmly, "I guess we know each other. 6 months ago at a dinner, her boyfriend swore at me." "So that client was you?" The world is truly too small. The important person Sarah offended back then was Victoria. I asked, "Then did you hire thugs later?" "Yeah, but I didn't plan to really hurt anyone. Just wanted to scare them." Unfortunately, it didn't scare Ben. It scared me. I didn't tell Victoria about that. Since it was in the past, there was no need to bring it up. "Why did you like her?" Victoria asked out of nowhere. I didn't react right away. "Who? Sarah? Oh, I don't like her anymore. But before, why did you like her?" Victoria was strangely insistent on this question, even though her tone sounded casual. Sarah was pretty outstanding in school, talented and beautiful. Teachers and students all liked her. Plus, she saved my life. I didn't tell Victoria about that part of the past. It was the summer of my senior year of high school. I accidentally drowned. Sarah happened to pass by and, without a word, dove into the water and pulled me out. When I woke up, she had already left. The people nearby were busy taking care of me and didn't notice what she looked like. I asked around later. The only comments I got were, "The girl has good character, doing good deeds without leaving a name. Pity, though. Didn't get a clear look at her face. Just remember she was beautiful." I had a rough idea in my mind. Tall, about my age. Later, in college, I saw Sarah at a swimming competition. Her movements entering the water, her swimming posture, it all brought back my memory. It looked just like her. I went to ask her for confirmation. Sarah froze for a second, then nodded. "Yeah, it was me." That was how Sarah and I first met. Except now, these events had become a way for Sarah to guilt-trip me. I felt annoyed. Seeing I didn't want to talk, Victoria didn't push. After the tutoring ended, I returned to the Jenkins estate as usual. I guessed Sarah wouldn't give up easily. But I never expected that to win me back, she wouldn't hesitate to hurt Ben. At the last party, Ben insulted me. He was taken away by the police and lectured for half a day. Since then, I hadn't seen him. The next time I saw news about him, it was on social media. The video of Ben slandering me had been leaked. It caused massive ridicule from people online. That wasn't the main point. The point was someone exposed several sets of photos of him in nightclubs. They said he liked using these photos to blackmail rich people, regardless of whether they were single or not. Ben's parents were famous professors with a reputation to protect. His photos quickly became a trending topic. People mocked. Famous professors raised a kid like this? So much for a scholarly family. I watched the discussions, feeling no joy. Who did this? Soon, I had the answer. Sarah came to find me, looking delighted. She said, "Alex, did you see the trending topics?" I saw them. "Are you happy?" I was astonished. "You did it?" "Yep. Why would you do that?" "You don't like Ben, so I exposed his true colors. In the future, whoever you don't like, I'll deal with them. I can do anything for you," she said. She seemed manic. That excited tone, that expression, fanatical to the point of being distorted. She was no longer the Sarah I thought I knew. "Alex, revenge is served. Do you feel relieved now?" She looked at me expectantly. But what she got wasn't my praise. It was a slap. I slapped Sarah hard across the face. No matter how much I hated Ben, I could never use such methods to ruin a person's reputation. I immediately called Jessica. I asked her to find a way to take down those photos. Too many gossip accounts had been sharing them. Some were cooperative and deleted the photos right away. Others pretended to be difficult, actually wanting to squeeze out some money. I called them one by one. "Yes, please delete those photos. No reason. You are invading a guy's privacy. Thunder rolled in the sky. The rain that had been held back for so long finally started pouring down. By the time I finished the last call, my voice was hoarse. Suddenly, I noticed a gaze watching me from the side. It was Ben. He wasn't holding an umbrella. He was just standing in the rain. His eyes looked at me, lost and helpless. I looked down and saw the navigation interface on his phone, the Cross River Bridge, also known as a famous suicide spot. The photos will be taken down soon, but I can't control private sharing. Just endure it for now, I said somewhat coldly. As for the bridge, no need to go. You... Ben's lips trembled as he asked, "Don't you hate me?" "I do. I hate you very much." "Then why?" "Don't misunderstand. I hate you, but I also hate using such dirty tactics to ruin someone's reputation. Even if the person trending today wasn't you, I would have stepped in." "Why?" Ben asked. After a moment of silence, I said, "Because I went through the same thing. Do you believe me?" It was that summer of senior year. I got into a decent college. But because I had always been poor, a few guys at school loved to bully me. Seeing me get into a good college, they were ridiculously jealous. So they faked inappropriate chat logs of mine and spread them everywhere. During that time, I didn't even dare to go out. Whenever I went out, the looks people gave me were enough to kill. The financial aid I applied for was delayed because of this. Without financial aid, I couldn't afford college anyway, so getting in was useless. In the end, I walked to the reservoir in a daze, and jumped when I said this. Ben suddenly looked up. He knew the rest without me saying it. Neither of us spoke. Just now, to avoid the rain, we had ducked into a coffee shop. This shop was one of Jessica's properties. The staff knew me and quickly brought hot water and towels for Ben. At this moment, the steam from the hot water blurred his vision. Ben's eyes turned red, and finally unable to hold it back, he lowered his head and covered his face with his hands. I didn't bother comforting him. Let him be sad if he wants. Once Ben calmed down, he spoke in a hoarse voice. "But I'm different from you. My photos aren't fakes. Clubbing, getting close to rich people, it's all true. Those are your private matters. I won't judge." "Brandon, let me tell you a secret," Ben said with a self-deprecating smile. "I actually don't like Sarah as much as you think. I'm vain and greedy. Compared to women, I prefer power and money. As soon as a woman better than Sarah appears, I could discard her. So that time I offended the client, I did it on purpose." I looked at him in surprise. "You wanted to attract Victoria's attention?" "Yes, but I failed. At your mother's birthday party, I purposely knocked over the wine glass to get your sister's attention, too." I couldn't help but make fun of him. "Did you watch too many teen dramas?" "You're right to mock me. I know how stupid I am now." Ben lowered his head. Even the hot water couldn't bring color back to his face. "I know Sarah is a selfish person at her core. I dated her while looking for a better option. I just stayed with her all these years because I couldn't find anyone else. As for going against you, it was only because you made my backup plan, Sarah, unstable." So that was it. But Ben changed the subject. "I only sent those photos to Sarah. Your sister, Victoria? I never sent them to them. They wouldn't even look at me. How would I have the chance to send photos to get close?" Meaning these photos could only have been leaked by Sarah. "Yeah, I had an idea. Have you thought about suing her?" Before answering my question, Ben said he had a secret to tell me. He showed me a photo. It was of him and Sarah together. The photo didn't look special until I noticed the date stamp in the bottom right corner. August 2nd, 2020. My eyes widened instantly. That's right. This photo was taken on the day you drowned. Ben rubbed the rim of his cup and spoke slowly. Sarah and I, our two families, were traveling together in City C. You mean the person who saved me wasn't her at all? She lied? Of course. I'm guilty too. I was an accomplice to that lie. Ben told me that Sarah was obsessed with competing for the State Scholar Award at the time. The day I went to confirm her identity, teachers from the Provincial Education Department happened to be there. Oblivious, I asked her, "Last summer, did you go to the reservoir and save me?" Sarah froze for a second. She knew the opportunity was right in front of her, so she nodded. Yeah, it was me. The teachers immediately gathered around. Impressive, Sarah. Acts of bravery deserve recognition. I knew it had to be Sarah. Excellent character and academics. With her grades being similar to others, Sarah got extra points for this good deed. She successfully won the honor that year. To maintain the lie, Sarah roped Ben in to cover for her. Until today, Ben decided to tell me the truth. I'm sorry. If I had said something sooner. Stop. Don't waste your energy apologizing, I interrupted him. I won't forgive you, but I won't hate you either. And you don't need to thank me for today because I wasn't trying to help you. If it were anyone else, I would have done the same. The scandal involving Ben slowly faded from the public eye. Life was calm for a long stretch. Then, on an ordinary Monday, another bombshell dropped on the internet. This time, about Sarah. She was suspected of making up data to cheat investors. Furthermore, people dug up that she had been faking her history since her student days, faking internship certificates to get scholarships, faking acts of bravery to become a state scholar. As a startup star, Sarah's reputation completely collapsed. The important people who were going to invest in her pulled their funds to avoid risk. Sarah also faced huge demands for compensation. She quickly realized I was behind the leaks. Sarah came to me, breaking down. Alex, you still hate me, don't you? Because I lied to you, you're taking revenge on me like this? I laughed lightly. Sarah, the reason you lost is that you underestimated me. You thought my brain was only filled with whether you loved me or not. Sarah froze. What do you mean? My goal was never revenge. It was... My assistant walked over at that moment. Mr. Jenkins, the investments are secured. The bosses who pulled out of Sarah's company are all contacting us. Sarah's eyes widened. She couldn't believe it, her lips trembling violently. You did it for... Yes, I wanted to steal your business. Victoria taught me that corporate warfare draws no blood, but every cut is fatal. Sometimes lying low is more effective than making noise. Strike the enemy fatally when they underestimate you. Did Sarah love me? Who cares? What I wanted was the business she held in her hands. Sarah wanted to fight back, but it was impossible. Because Ben, suddenly, decided to sue her. Since that rainy day, Ben and I hadn't contacted each other. Just as I said, I couldn't forgive him, but I couldn't be bothered to hate him. We lived lives that didn't cross paths. But I guessed he had been silently waiting for my move. The day I struck was the day he filed his lawsuit. Even if Sarah wanted to fight me, she would be too exhausted by his lawsuit to focus. I knew this was Ben's way of apologizing to me. The business war with Sarah didn't last long before she completely gave up. I took my results to show off to Victoria. Teacher Victoria, did I pass this final exam? Passed? You can graduate. Haha, thanks for the guidance, teacher. The power of bloodlines is terrifying, Victoria said lazily. Without anyone's help, relying entirely on talent in your genes, you took down Sarah. Scary. Scary is good, I said with a grin. You better be careful. Maybe you're next. Then I surrender now, okay? Victoria raised both hands. I said, just kidding. It's thanks to you forcing me to read so many books and case studies. By the way, ask for whatever you want as a reward. I want a fancy dinner. No problem. I also want a meal cooked by you personally. Done. You have to pour my first glass of wine yourself. Okay. I want to court you. Sure. Wait, what? I looked at her in shock. Victoria had a smile on her lips, but her eyes were incredibly serious. I know you don't want to be bound by an engagement, and neither do I. But Brandon, after getting to know you this whole time, I truly like you. So, putting aside family and engagements, I want to court you properly. Since she put it that way, I had to agree. Victoria courted me for 6 months. I thought her performance was excellent, so I made it official. We dated for another 2 years before our families started discussing the wedding. On the day of our engagement, I saw her social media account that she hadn't used in a long time. August 2nd, 2020. She had posted a tweet. This lady saved another person today. I'm awesome. Ha. Pure arrogant high school girl tone. The location tag was that reservoir. My heart almost skipped a beat. I took the tweet to Victoria and asked, "Was it you who saved me?" "Oh, yeah." She was perfectly calm, as if it were a trivial matter. "Why didn't you tell me? I remember you already knew about my drowning when I exposed Sarah." Victoria answered, "Saving someone is just common decency. I didn't take it to heart and didn't tell anyone. Later, when I found out the person I saved was you, I couldn't say it." "Why?" "I was pursuing you back then. I didn't want to guilt trip you with that. That wouldn't be fair to you." I was stunned. I didn't speak for a long time. She was about the same height as Sarah. Both were tall and slender. The key was the swimming style they learned was the same type. That's why when I first saw Sarah, I mistook her. So that person had been by my side all along. Victoria pulled me into her arms, nuzzling me affectionately. "Brandon, promise me one thing." "What?" "Don't be grateful to me. I only want you to love me. Purely love me." She kissed my earlobe lightly, then my cheek, then my lips. Her hot breath landed on my skin. I couldn't help but remember my dark, hopeless 18-year-old self. That figure diving into the water, bringing me the hope of survival. Staying alive really does bring good things. In the end, I never said thank you. Under the moonlight, I leaned close to Victoria's ear. Softly, I said, "I love you."